Good afternoon, students. This is part 2, our environment. We have already gone through some of the topics in the last video, that is about introduction and components of environment, ecosystem, food chain and food web. And we have covered the trophic levels also of the food chain. Okay, good. Now, in this lesson, we are going to learn about 10% law. So what is environment? The total of everything around an organism, including both living and non-living components, and these factors influence the environment. So this is called environment. Okay, and these are like producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers means autotrophs and consumers means heterotrophs. Decomposers means what? Decomposers are also called saprophytes. Good. So again, consumers are divided into three. Okay, herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. So herbivores means the animals which can eat only plants, and carnivores, they can eat only animals for the food, and omnivores means they can eat both plants and animals. So examples also we have given in the last video. Decomposers means organisms who feed on dead plants and animals. Example, bacteria, fungus and worms. Decomposers are also called what? Saprophytes. And what are the advantages of decomposers? They clean up environment by decomposing dead organisms, and they break complex compounds in dead organisms into nutrients. These nutrients mix with soil, make soil more fertile. So this is important. You may get like 2 marks question also. So these are all the trophic levels about. Okay, so this is algae is also called producer. Okay, and these three are consumers. In this is primary consumer, secondary consumer and tertiary consumer. And coming to the trophic levels, producers come under first trophic level, and herbivores second trophic level, carnivore third, and this is top carnivore is fourth trophic level. So this is flow of energy, very interesting topic this is, and very easy as well. See, flow of energy means the energy flow from one trophic level to other trophic level. When deer eats plants, okay, when deer eats plants, then deer gets energy, right? From where it is getting energy? From the plants. From the plants, deer is getting energy. So from the plants, energy flows, right, to the deer, and from the deer, energy flows to the lion. So this process, this energy flow, okay, flow of energy, this process is called flow of energy, and this flow of energy is unidirectional. This is what? Unidirectional means from the plants deer will get energy, from the deer lion will get energy. So this is what, this way only energy flows. So in this way, no, in this way energy, it cannot flow, because how can it? See, just think on it. See, deer cannot eat lion, right? So from the lion, deer cannot get any energy. So from like this, there is no flow of energy. Okay, fine. Next. Yeah, in this, sun is the source of energy. Sun is the source of energy for this earth. So in this, Actually, plants they can prepare their own food by the process of photosynthesis. In that process, by using sunlight, they can prepare their own food. See, the sun rays are reaching the earth and plants as well. So, in that, from the solar energy, only 1% is of solar energy coming to earth is absorbed by plants. So, these plants which are on earth, these plants can absorb only 1% of solar energy. Okay, once again, I'm telling you. So, a lot of solar energy is reaching to. Solar energy means what? The energy which is come from sun. The energy which is come from sun, that energy is called solar energy. So, this solar energy which is coming from sun, that energy is absorbed, okay, is absorbed by the plants. Only 1%. Only 1% of solar energy coming to earth is absorbed by plant. Good. So now plants convert this energy to chemical energy by photosynthesis. So they are taking 1% of solar energy. Okay. So that energy, that solar energy, plants are converting into chemical energy by the process photosynthesis. Okay, fine. And so now the energy is in which form? Chemical form, right? Chemical energy. So some of this chemical energy is lost by plants to surroundings. So they lost some energy is lost by surroundings, and only the rest is stored in body of plant. Only some energy which is rest, okay, which is left over. So that energy only stored in plants. Fine. Now we will see. 1 minute. Yeah. Now that some energy is stored in the plant, right? It's so easy. So some energy is stored in plants. So this energy is taken by what? Grasshopper. Okay. So how much energy is taken? Like grasshopper is taking 10,000 joules of energy from the plants. 10,000 joule of energy from the plants. Girls, listen carefully. It is so easy. Only here what happened? Only plant stores some energy, right? So that energy is taken by grasshopper when the grasshopper eats plant. Okay. So how much energy it is taking by the plant? 10,000 joules. Okay, fine. Now that 10,000 joules is getting stored in the grasshopper's body? No, right? No. Because in that 90% of energy, okay, is lost or is used up for some life processes, like it can fly, right? Flying or moving from here to there, and reproduction, and for other life process it is using. Okay, so this energy is used up. How much? 90%. In this 10,000 joules, 90% energy is used up, and only 10% energy is stored in the grasshopper's body. Okay, so now we have to calculate, right? So in this 10,000 joules, what is the percentage of 10%? How much? 1,000 joules. We will get 1,000 joules. So only whether it is like grasshopper is taking how much energy? 10,000 joules of energy is taking from the plants. Okay, but only how much energy is getting stored? Only 1,000 joules of energy stored in the body. Okay, that is only 10%. Okay, fine. Now coming to the frog. This is what? Secondary consumer. Good. So now frog can eat grasshopper, right? So in this grasshopper, how much energy is stored? 1000 joules, isn't it? Yes. So when this frog eats grasshopper, only 1000 joules can enter into the frog's body. But in that also 90% energy is used up for the other activities. Only 10% energy is again stored in the frog. Okay, and how much you can say out of 1000 joules, how much is 10%? Means 100 joules. So this 100 joules of energy is stored in the frog. So simple, don't get confused. Nothing is there to confuse here. Okay, very easy. Grasshopper, when it can eat plants, then it will get 10,000 joules. And in that only 10% energy is stored in the grasshopper. That is only 1000 joules of energy is stored in the grasshopper. If you come to the frog, the frog, when the frog eat grasshopper, then this it will take 1000 joules from the grasshopper, because here 1000 joules is stored, okay, in the grasshopper body. So that is taken by frog. So this one again, in that 90% energy is used up, only 10% is stored in the frog's body. Okay, fine. So that is how much? 100 joules. Very good. So when the same thing in the snake also, when it eats frog, then what happens? This 100 joules is taken by snake. Okay, in that 90% is energy is used up, only 10% is stored. So how much? 10% means out of 100, only 10 joules. Okay, 10 joules is stored in the snake's body. Very good. Next. So obviously what happens next? This 10 joules are there, right? This 10 joules, okay, this 10 joules of energy is taken by hawk. Okay, still now I hope till now you got the content very well. You understood, I think. So now why we are calling it as 10% law? Because if you take grasshopper to frog, frog to snake, snake to hawk, how much energy is getting transferred? How much? 10%, only 10%. Grasshopper to frog, only 10% energy is going again. From frog to snake, how much energy is transferring? 10%. Again from here to here, 10%. So that is the reason this law is called 10%. 10% law. Okay. See here. So I'll ask you one question, right? Here in our environment, more hawks should be there, or more snakes should be there, or more frogs, or more grasshoppers should be there? Yes, actually the number of grasshoppers should be more, and frogs, if you compare this, frogs should be little lesser than that, and snakes should be lesser than frogs, and hawk should be lesser than snake. Okay, why the number decreases? Why the number of organism should be decreased? Why? Because Why? Because, okay, one example I'll tell you. If frog can eat one grasshopper, listen carefully. If frog can eat one grasshopper, how much energy the frog can obtain? Yes, 1000 joules of energy it can obtain by eating only one grasshopper. Because in one grasshopper, how much this thing is there? 10,000 joules is there. But out of 10,000, only 10% is used, stored. Okay, so that is the reason 1000 joules it will get. So 1000 joules of energy is more, right, if you compare with the 10 joules. So that is the reason hawk diet should be more to get more energy. To get more energy, hawk's diet should be more. Means what? Hawk should eat more snakes, isn't it? And snakes should eat more frogs, and frogs should eat more grasshoppers. Okay, so that is the reason the grasshoppers number should be more. Okay, if you compare with this, the diet in the, if you take the point of diet, okay, then the diet should be more in the top consumer. Okay, the diet should be more in the top consumer. Means what? See, this is, if you go in this way, the diet should be more. Means if you compare with the grasshopper, the hawk, then in which the diet should be more? The hawk. Because hawk, if it will eat only one snake, it will get only 100 joules. But in the case of grasshopper, if it eat one plant, then how much energy it is getting? 10,000 joules. So you can just imagine. Okay, so hawk's diet should be more because it is getting less energy. Yeah, by seeing this pyramid, you can understand better. See here, in this last this is what producers, right? See, producers are more. In the pyramid, producers are more. And these producers are eaten by grasshoppers. See, grasshopper number you can see, you can compare with the other consumers and other trophic levels also. And grasshoppers are eaten by frog. Frogs are little more than grasshoppers. Okay, and above frogs are snakes are there. Snakes are again lesser than frog. And hawk, you can see hawk's number are very less. If suppose hawk's number are more and snakes are very less in environment, what happens? So that is what imbalance, if snakes are less, hawks are more, then hawks won't get snakes to eat, right? Then hawks getting decreased. So the whole ecosystem, the whole environment will get imbalanced. So that is the reason the number of animals should be balanced in the environment. So protect animals and save animals to balance environment. I hope you understood the lesson very well because it's so easy. Thank you. Have a nice day.